It's good, it's good. It's exciting to be here in person with a room full who is now eagerly awaiting your presentation. Can you see people? Okay, we can see you nice and clearly and we can hear you nice and clearly and we also have your slides. So the room is yours, Nadine. Thank you. And I'll let you do a self intro as well where you can give people the background that you want to give, yep? Okay.
you face a real problem, because it becomes transparent, and then it's not possible that everybody still thinks in their own castle, in their own box, and goes on the way that they did. Big parts, global customers and suppliers. I think I don't need to say anything about it. And we also faced some disruptions in technologies that affect our core business, because our core business has been in control cables. That's how we grew as a company. But in the future, really, data cables will come up much more. But I don't go into detail on that, since I'm not an expert and I have no clue about cables. War of talent, or war for talent, I think everybody knows it. We also fight for the best people in the market, with many more companies than just the one in our branch or in our industry. So growth needs clarity, and if we're not clear about who we want to be and who we need to be, we can't scale, because it's like not making one decision about who you want to be, and then nothing really moves forward. And the cycles of change, as everybody notices right now, are getting faster and faster. And you need to be clear about some certain topics, otherwise you will not move. And to sum it up, we kind of knew we needed to change. We knew why we needed to change, from an inside perspective as well as from an outside perspective. We knew what is kind of the targets that we want to reach. We had ideas about the milestones, but some part was missing on the inside, and that was basically how would you do this transformation? How can you make sure that you have a clear direction, a clear steering, but you don't do it top down, but you involve as many people as you can? And it sounds like very basic, but it's not so easy. So we had to develop something, and outside in, inside out model. And one or a few big realizations that we made during the process of new change projects, new strategies, whatsoever, was that we forget about the same important topics all the time. And the first one is to think about how the developments that we face in all branches affect our customers' business. So we think about sustainability, what do we need to do? But we skip the part often where we think about how does it affect the decision-making of our customers? And then how does that affect us? The second part is talking about the decision makers, is that we always think the customers' targets are automatically the targets of a decision maker, but it's just not true. The company's goal might be to save costs or to do it efficiently. But the decision maker might be a technical guy, and the technical guy doesn't care about the costs. He wants the best quality, and maybe he says, I don't want to change a lot because I know this will work. So I want something that is most easily for me. And again, that sounds plain, but it has a massive impact on the design of your business models and on your positioning to the market. And for me, the biggest learning is that, or the most powerful influence comes from the identity. What do we believe about ourselves is really who we are towards the market. And if you go into your company and you ask 100 people, what is our identity? Who are we? You probably get 100 different answers, slightly different. Even if you have a great corporate presentation, you have great corporate values and so on. But to have one sentence that says this is who we are exactly is top shelf and is really difficult. And we all talk about change management, involving the people, taking them on board, you name it. But to really define what it means for the people and what the management expects for them is another level again, because everyone says more collaboration, but where does it provide value to collaborate or communicate more, and why? And for the people, they need to know, otherwise you end up with a lot of resistances, and it makes it difficult for a transformation to go on itself or go on its own when the people don't fully believe that it's their own as well. So now it gets really, the slides will be shattered, I promise, because I put a lot of stuff on them. But this is the basic structure, how it looks. So we have 4 levels coming from the market level, which is on top. Then the company or corporate level. Next one is functional level, for example, a department or a team. And then the last one is the personal level. And on the left side, you have the outside perspective, which is market and customer. And on the right side is the inside perspective, which is what does it mean for us, basically. And we divided this into 2 sides because often when we have discussions and workshops, we talk about what we believe, what the customers need, but it's not actually knowledge that comes from experience or data or anything. It's just our inside perspective on the outside, but it's not really the outside perspective. I hope I didn't lose you yet. So we go a cycle through this, and this is how it looks like. So we start with the most important market developments that your company is facing. Could be connectivity, automation, aging society, sustainability, you name it. You just decide for the most important ones. And then you start asking, how is this affecting our customers' business? For example, how is the market developing? What are the chances? What new players do we evolve, maybe from different key industries? We see, for example, Amazon entering a lot of different markets in the past 10 years and changing the game inside those. And then also asking, how do the companies and our main focus or target customers, how do they develop? What is it that they need? And until here, it doesn't sound really different. It sounds like any other model you already used. But now there's a difference, because now you go to the level and ask yourselves, what does it mean for the decision-making departments and the important contact persons? And if you take an example like the development of sustainability, you discuss often about on the meta level, but asking how does that change the decision if there's a law for sustainable products in the purchasing, how does that change the decision? What do they need? And you might come up with new services, new business models, and so on. And the same for the personal context, because as I said, they could have a really different interest than the company. And then you translate it to how does that affect us as a company? So what will be our position in the market? Who do we need to be? And this really is focusing on an identity. And then at the same time, breaking it down on the company level, thinking about strategy and culture really on an inside perspective. Again, this part is, I think, in many strategies, it's inside, but then what's difficult is to break it down on the team level and think about what can we bring in. For example, for HR, a department that has many internal customers, but in future we'll need to think about how does the market change and what kind of employees are we searching for in order to fulfill that market needs, will be a total game changer. And then to think about what is maybe persons hindering or blocking from following that vision. What are their interests? What can they bring in? And so this model as a total can be used in different use cases, and I brought 4 with me just to give you some practical insights. But we don't need to go through all of them in detail, but just to show that it's not just a theoretical model. This is from a workshop in one of the sales companies that we did, and you can see here we took the market's development and trends and said connectivity, industrial communication is a growing market, and then went through all of the levels to define what does it mean. And this was especially great because it gives all of the different leaders of the different functions the possibility to understand how it affects the other departments. And this holistic view is something very valuable for the following process. And talking about leadership, this is also how we engage the leaders in our new corporate strategy that we just launched. We gave the leaders 3 very basic questions, but that are very, very powerful. We asked them as department, who do you need and want to be? What do you need? And how do you want to provide value to the organization? So not a lot of templates, but to answer those questions, you need a clear understanding. Next use case I want to show you real quick is entering a new market, because I like that this model can not only be used for leaders in the strategy process, but also for market specialists. This was also a workshop where we discussed about medical, because it came up during COVID's new industry. What can we do about it? And often in those workshops, everybody starts discussing about, medical, let's go for it. I know already, we need a competence center. We need to start getting expert new products and so on. And then you have a discussion of people who don't know the customers. And you get answers, and that's a problem. So by this model, you could go and say, so who are the customers? Does any one of you know? Who are the most influential competitors? Does anyone know? And then you realize nobody knows, and then you just skip it. So you don't end up with false answers to something. So this one I'll just skip. And one more learning about the implementation of a new culture was that the culture is really defined in the daily business. So in those past 3 years, we did a lot of bottom-up movements, silo breaking, and so on. And at a certain point, you hit like a wall of glass. You can't really see it, but it's what's happening in the daily operations. That is where the real difference is being made. Besides all great kind of events and opportunities that you have. So within the outside-in model, we realized that we need to focus more on the team level and take the leaders more into consideration and give them the responsibilities, but at the same time offer teams to take decisions. And then we did set up those mindset modules that I was talking about earlier, where you go through different modules about reflection, learning, and at the end of every one, you have to take a decision on what you commit to as a team. So a lot of freedom and responsibility, a lot of agile principles, and the understanding is that from a team level and a functional responsibility, you will start to change the rest of the culture in the whole company. And last example that I have that we will go through really quick is how we integrate new companies. So we start with insights of the leadership team, ask them what is making you strong, what is the wind in your wind for your ship, and what is keeping you down. And then we start doing those sprints with the outside-in model where we go through every level in detail. And based on that, we let the people define an inspiring change story to take everybody inside the company on board, and with a clear knowledge about who do we want to be in the future, and empower the people through that. And only starting from there, we go on implementing measures. And this example just shows how difficult, even for a very successful company, it is to define who you need to be and what is your identity, because you have a different positioning for each market that you're in. And as you've seen in the beginning, we have a lot of different markets. And if you enter a different sales channel or a different spot in the value chain, there are also different needs for the target groups that you're entering. And so you create realization of the people who work with it on a daily basis, but are not aware of it. And this is really important if you want to grow, because for everybody who's entering the company to grow, they don't know about this. So you will lose it the more you grow if you're not aware of it. And I think I already said it, it's what I just showed you is not just like a model or a tool. In the first place, it's really a philosophy and a mindset to focus on the customer. And it's something that should be applied, and we do apply it in all levels of our organization. And to share, as a last part, to share some personal learnings from my side, is that transformation is really about the people. If you use that model to have great PowerPoints and have all parts filled in with something, but you don't care about the last step to think about what it means for the people, then this process is completely useless, because it really is about the people. And we talk a lot about targets, we talk a lot about process, how to get there, but the core that really makes the difference is the identity. Who do you believe you are? And what I'm not a fan of, but it is the way it is, this is really just the start. We're constantly involving this, and it will not be the same in 1 year. It's just a representation of the maturity of our company and where we struggle at the moment. And I also believe, I'm not a big fan of theories. So if you apply something like this as a mindset, it will be a real game changer. So that was it from my side. And if you have any questions, thoughts, feel free to ask now or maybe later on. I'm open.
Thank you, Nadine. You certainly win the prize for the best slides. You had a lot of people taking pictures of your amazing slides. Let me remind people that all the presentations can be accessed, right? So you can have the full copies. We do have time for one question if you're happy to take one before our coffee break. So do we have any questions? Anyone? No? Okay, let's give Nadine a great round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.